GB News has been hit by guest boycott after the host labels LGBT plus people pedos and deviants. I'm going to read into this more from Byline Times, you guys. Let's go. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. This is Reganelite here with an article from Byline Times with the headline: The GB News has been hit by a guest boycott after host labels LGBT plus people pedos and deviants. There was a flurry of Ofcom complaints after a series of offensive remarks made by a presenter on the right-wing channel. Guys, while you're here, make sure you hit the like button and share this across social media so others are notified of this video. So, for all those who once again continue to try and defend GB News as a reliable and proper and a good news outlet, because I know I have those subscribers who will die on this hill of GB News, how can you justify this? How do you justify these comments? Why do you think that this is perfectly acceptable? And I know that some of you will try to make it along like it's a joke, it's not a big deal. If I'm honest, it's very hard for me to claim that it's like that, if I'm honest, when you listen to it.
The type of church that she belongs to, the diocese, it talks about the full inclusion of LGBTQ plus persons. I just want to say that includes pedos. Type of church.
And it says it in such a way that it's totally okay. Like, it's a bit funny, it's a jokerly. Like, that's not funny. And I don't know why people think it's funny or something to make any kind of comparison towards a group like that. Any group, for that matter. Not just LGBT plus people, but any people in that matter. It's disgusting, it's abhorrent, and it's outrageous. And you're supposed to, and for those who defend GB News, who consider it a good news channel, like, how is that justified in any way? How is it okay in any way? And you people want this kind of language to be normalised. And I say, no, I don't want it to be normalised. It's not okay to say that about people. It's not okay to say that about a group. There's no justification whatsoever. And if GB News had any spine, they would never have that man on their channel again. They would come out with a huge apology. And Ofcom, after getting more than enough complaints, more than enough times that they have told off GB News, they should shut that organisation down, because they continue to play with people's minds. They continue to mislead and misinform people time and time again about what's going on, and they continue to spouse and have people like that on their broadcast, thinking that that kind of language is acceptable and it's okay. How many more times are we going to say this is enough and it needs to stop? Ofcom have no spine in this, and they need to take action on this. It's not good enough. It's not. Like, a fine does nothing. The channel needs to be shut down, for its actions. Time and time again, they keep having people like this, spewing this kind of stuff, thinking that it's okay and there's nothing wrong with it. Well, I'm saying it's not okay, and the people who are complaining are saying it's not okay, and the vast majority of people in the UK do not approve of this language in any way, shape or form. There may be a tiny minority of you sickos out there who think it's okay, but the vast majority of us do not want to hear that. It's not okay. And a prominent trans campaigner and GB News contributor has announced that she will no longer appear on the channel after one of its presenters linked LGBT plus people to paedophilia, amid growing pressure on the channel's advertisers to ditch the right-wing broadcaster. The controversy stems from comments made by presenters and comedian Josh Howie on the channel's headliners programs on the 22nd of January, as well as separate remarks by the presenter Michelle Dewberry just 2 days later. During the paper review on GB News at 11:40 p.m. on Wednesday the 22nd, Howie referred to a speech from the Episcopalian Bishop of Washington, Mariann Budde, who had addressed President Trump in a sermon he attended earlier this month, calling for him to show compassion to marginalised groups, including LGBT plus people. Yeah, because guess what? They are going to be suffering in silence for the next 4 goddamn years in America, because their rights are being taken away from them. Howie quoted a statement from her church which backs the full inclusion of LGBTQ plus persons. And he then added, "I just want to say that includes pedos," shouting at the last word. Has he met any LGBT plus pedos? Does he know of any? No, he's just throwing that in there for no reason whatsoever. In another discussion on trans issues on Friday 24th of January at 6:24 p.m, the host Michelle Dewberry said, "Some of these fellas that go around dressed as women in their fake bits and their bras, they are deviant, quite frankly." It was part of a Dweebs & Co show. Have you ever met these people? Have you ever gone to one of these events and tried to understand people? Like, this just shows just how out of touch you are with society. It's how out of touch that you don't want people to be able to allow people to just be who they want to be. Why is it so hard for people to just let others be who they want to be? You know, I'm sure that some of those people believe that a woman should have a right to choose what to do with her own body. Is that not the same with men? Is that not the same with other people? Should I not be allowed to choose what I want to do, just like you are allowed to choose what you want to do? And yet you think it's okay to scrutinise and demonize people who choose to do these things, who choose to be trans, who choose to be bisexual. Robin Moore White, who has appeared around a dozen times on GB News to provide her perspective on trans issues, said she has raised concerns about the broadcast at a senior level with the executive, but was ignored. Of course it was ignored. They don't care. She said of GB News figures, "I can see on WhatsApp that they received the message, but I've had no response. Therefore, I have to assume GB News are entirely happy with what's happened." Responding to Howe's comments about pedos, White added, "I've always taken the view that I should be prepared to put trans perspective even with broadcasters such as GB News. This clip changes that." In an interview, White told Byline Times that GB News had the opportunity to prevent the broadcast of Howe's comments being used as their standard 20-second delay between filming and broadcast. They clearly didn't have to put it on their social media channel, which they'd done. And by doing so, they have endorsed the remarks she said. The campaign group Stop Funding Hate has called the incident toxic and dangerous and is urging advertisers, including Sky, to withdraw their support from the channel. The group has launched a petition asking companies to review their advertising relationship with GB News. The group has also crowdfunded around $10,000 to step up efforts to monitor the broadcast this year. White, who has previously appeared alongside presenters including Ann Whitaker and Richard Tice, drew parallels between the channel's rhetoric and historical persecutions of minority groups. Yeah, keep targeting innocent minority groups all the time. We've just marked Holocaust Memorial Day. The Nazis didn't start putting Jews into camps. They started by demonizing them and gradually excluding them from participating in society. That starts with a narrative that associates a particular group with criminality and unacceptable behavior. And here we have that narrative, White said. The broadcaster Ofcom has faced criticism for its soft-touch handling of previous complaints about GB News. White describes the watchdog as a toothless tiger. Despite its ruling on the channel Ask Rishi Sunak programme last year, the channel was fined £100,000 for breaking due impartiality rules over its February 2024 programme, featuring the Prime Minister and limited critical voices. Yeah, it was, again, like, the fines don't do anything. A number of social media users have reported filing complaints with Ofcom over the recent anti-LGBT plus comments. White will be complaining to Ofcom herself. There are many people who know us LGBT plus people to be principled, responsible members of society who shouldn't be treated this way by a public broadcaster. I think a line is crossed where there is a game play between two commentators who try to get LGBT and words like paedophile into the same sentence. They attempt to give the impression that a significant number of LGBT folks are in troubling categories, which is simply untrue. And the same goes for Michael Dewberry's deviant comments, she added. GB News has previously defended its editorial standards and as representative views as they claim are excluded from mainstream media. Richard Wilson, director of Stop Funding Hate, the group which monitors GB News and calls for advertising boycott, the channel believes that in recent weeks that the channel has promoted a rapid escalation of anti-LGBTQ rhetoric, perhaps in light of Donald Trump's return to power. Presenter Patrick Christie this week, GB News celebrated the US government's ban on Pride and Black Lives Matter flags being flown on US government buildings, asking, "Isn't it time we copied Donald Trump?" Why is there not action being taken for these comments? You know what? These are also the same people that told us to stop bowing down to the EU. And these exact people are bowing down to Donald Trump. Isn't that hypocritical? This matters above all because these toxic tropes can have a dangerous real-world impact, fueling hostilities and even violence against communities that have already faced discrimination, Wilson had told Byline Times. We know there is a way to push back. GB News presenters have repeatedly attacked Stop Funding Hate and complained about reluctance of major advertisers to associate themselves with the channel. By keeping up the pressure on companies such as Sky, Trivago and Image Cruising, who have continued to support GB News, we help to ensure that pushing this kind of hate remains unprofitable. The group is challenging what it calls Ofcom repeated refusal to act and the impacts that the channel is having on our public discourse. If Britain's broadcaster regulator continues to failing to enforce its own rules, then MPs need to step in and hold it to account, he added. GB News has been approached for comment, but of course they have they haven't got the balls to respond, understandably so, because they don't care. They don't care. They want to stir up hatred and violence. That's what they want to do. They want to incite this. They think it's okay. I don't care what's going on in America. There is no justification for this language, and they do not. And the fact that they have the nerve to call themselves Great British News when they don't represent Britain in any way, shape, or form with the language that they have on their channel, it's disgusting. And because they call themselves GB News, that they think they can justify themselves as a reliable news outlet, that they see themselves different from the mainstream media. You are different from the mainstream media. You're a platform that does not deserve any attention whatsoever, that feeds and fuels a negative narrative to so many people's minds. We need more than ever to apply pressure on advertisers and anyone who advertises this the news outlet. We need to make it difficult for them. We need to make it tough for them. We know that they are in debt. We need to make it more difficult. We need to, any kind of advertisers who go towards GB News, we need to apply pressure to them in doing so as well. Because if you apply pressure on them, they could end up boycotting as well. And we say and apply pressure to them by saying, so you guys are against LGBT plus people because the news broadcast is very much in supportive of anti-LGBT plus rhetoric. So are you as a company? Are you as an advertiser who's promoting them? Are you also the same? This is the pressure you need to apply, and it only takes a couple of tweets from a couple of powerful people on social media to get the conversation going, and it starts to boycott. McDonald's have been badly hurt by their support for Israel. It can be done in the same thing here with some of these advertisers. We need to call them out, and action needs to be taken. So what do you guys think? What do you guys make of this story? Do you think anything's going to happen to GB News? Will the Labour government do anything? Will Ofcom do anything? Let me know your thoughts and more down in the comments below. If you found this video informative and helpful to you, please hit that like button and share this across social media so others are notified of this video. If you haven't subscribed already, please consider subscribing because it really does help support the channel. If you want to go one step further and finally support me in the work that I do here, you can do so by becoming a joining the YouTube membership for as little as 99p. You can even join me on Rumble or Patreon for exclusive content on those platforms. So thank you all so much for watching, and I hope to catch you all very, very soon.